It's not an Aston Martin. I'm in a Merc. No. Yeah, no, I'm definitely in a Merc.
Sorry, James.
I know.
30 point.
Oh, you tried to take me on the inside? Oh, that was horrible.
Ah! Fuck.
We all go for the 2-stop, eh?
Jesus, James.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. We've just finished Austria qualifying, and the news of the day is Max Verstappen's on pole yet again. But it was a very interesting qualifying session because his teammate, Sergio Perez, was certainly nowhere near, as was George Russell. And we'll go into all of that. But Reece, just quickly talk us through the major news of the day, which is...
Well, Sergio Perez is out in Q2. I mean, you said he wasn't close to Max Verstappen. He was a little bit close to Max Verstappen's time, not far off in terms of lap times, but he kept getting his lap times deleted due to track limits. We have seen here in Austria in the past, as well as today, how we do get a lot of track times being deleted for
Track limits.
I mean, it's very, very strict here in Austria, and we saw, I mean, it must have been upwards of 20 track limits in front.
Yeah, lots of lap times were deleted. And let's just go through qualifying there as regards to results. So Q1 took place, and Nick de Vries, Kevin Magnussen, Logan Sargent, Zhou Guanyu, and Yuki Tsunoda were the drivers that were eliminated in Q1. Any surprises there?
I mean, I've just seen a picture on Twitter saying, name a more iconic duo than Nick de Vries and P20.
Yeah, well, I can say that. Logan Sargent
Yes,
and P20.
I mean, you could say that too.
Yeah, Logan Sargent and Nick de Vries, both of them really struggling this entire season, and yet again struggling in this qualifying session, all the way down in P20 and P18 respectively. Kevin Magnussen splits the two in 19th, Zhou Guanyu 17, and Yuki Tsunoda in 16. And disappointing for Zhou Guanyu not to get out of Q3. However, not able to, and not really too many surprises with regards to that qualifying session, other than the fact that we just know that all those drivers really struggling, especially the likes of Logan Sargent, Nick de Vries. We've seen Kevin Magnussen, Zhou Guanyu, and Yuki Tsunoda do other things in other races, but...
I mean, talk of drivers possibly at risk. I mean, I think Kevin Magnussen's also going to start coming under fire in that Haas team. I mean, qualifying only down in P19 with his teammates up in P8. I mean, the car has pace, but yeah, he's also just really struggling.
Yeah, and then we hit on into Q2. And that was where we really saw some interesting things happen. George Russell was slow throughout the entire Q2. He didn't really have any, I don't remember any lap times being deleted.
No, I don't think
so. But I think he was just not getting to grips with that car at all. And shocking, finished all the way in 11th, wasn't able to make it out of Q2, as were the other drivers that weren't. Esteban Ocon, who had a lap time deleted, resulting in him dropping back into that elimination zone. Oscar Piastri, Valtteri Bottas, and the biggest news of all, of course, Sergio Perez. Not a single lap time in his Q2 session was a legitimate lap.
His fastest lap was a 2 minutes and 6 seconds because
that's
his only legal lap was not even his outlap. His outlap doesn't.
Yeah, it's the return lap.
One of his slowdown laps. So I mean, dismal. I mean,
yeah,
Red Bull is going to be getting very, very impatient.
Yeah,
they have waited less time to replace.
It's 3 or 4 laps that they had there in that session there that he attempted, and all of them deleted.
2 of them, Max Verstappen gave him a tow.
Yeah, and he was getting a tow from Max Verstappen for 2 of them. So yeah, they really, really have to worry. But nonetheless, that rounds off those who eliminated. Going from 15th, Sergio Perez 15, Valtteri Bottas 14, Oscar Piastri 13, Esteban Ocon 12, George Russell in 11th. We then saw Q3 happen, and lots of very interesting things happened there. We saw lap times get improved upon and get very close towards the end. Then we suddenly saw both Aston Martins right near the top of the grid, and then they dropped just as quickly right towards the end as more drivers made their way over the final finishing line. And so we have a final result of Reece.
Well, finishing up our top 10 will be Alex Albon having another great weekend. Certainly having another good qualifying. Hopefully he will have the race pace to match. Pierre Gasly then ahead of him in P9. Good from the Alpine of Gasly. Then Hülkenberg in 8th. Alonso, a bit of a shocker to have him down in 7th. Lance Stroll ahead of him. Certainly not what I was expecting. The first legitimate qualifying session where Stroll was ahead of Fernando Alonso. I say that because in Spain, Alonso was also out-qualified by Stroll, but Alonso did have floor damage. Then up in P5, we have Lewis Hamilton. Not as much pace as I thought the Mercedes would have this weekend. Lando Norris ahead of him with the same engine, but McLaren seemingly finding some more pace in that car with their upgrades this weekend. Norris has been, though, very, very competitive in qualifying, but does not have that race pace to match. Will he be able to have that race pace with these new upgrades? We'll have to wait and see for the sprint race as well as Sunday. Carlos Sainz then in P3 with Charles Leclerc having a great qualifying session, only point 0.05 behind
0.04.
Max, 0.04 behind Max Verstappen's time. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant to see in the end. It was so tense. We didn't know who was going to take that pole position there, but Max Verstappen just ever so slightly taking it with a 1 minute and 4 seconds, 0.391. Just for some context, Charles Leclerc's fastest lap was a 1:04.439. So very, very close between those two drivers.
Yeah, and it should give us a lot of interest, of course, going into the sprint shootout tomorrow morning before the sprint race. Ferrari will certainly be looking at this, saying that we can maybe get ahead of the Red Bull, and other drivers may be thinking these times are a lot closer than they have been for ages, and the race pace is certainly improving for a lot of these people. So on Sunday, with regards to this order, could be very, very interesting to watch these Ferraris maybe challenge Max Verstappen in that Red Bull on Sunday. Of course, you can catch it all here on Forever Motorsports, on Forever Sports. So be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And any final comments of the qualifying session, Reese?
No, should be interesting. I was hoping we'd get a little bit of rain, but it was a dry session throughout, but still very, very exciting up until the last minute. We still didn't know if any lap times were deleted at the end of that session, but it does seem like everyone was able to keep it within the limits. But should be a very interesting qualifying session tomorrow again, and then that sprint race in the afternoon as well as the race on Sunday.
Indeed. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Forever Motorsports. I've been Mark, Reese has been Reese, and we'll be joining you for all of those sessions live on the channel. So be sure to hit notifications and turn them on so that you'll be notified about those videos as well. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Of course, we will see you in the next session. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports. For today's guide, how to watch the Austrian Grand Prix, how to watch all the action from Austria this weekend, and it's going to be absolutely mental. We've got free practice, we have got qualifying, we have got a sprint race, we have got a Grand Prix on Sunday, and you can watch all the action on a free-to-air broadcaster. That's what we're going to show you how to do. Now, obviously, we'll be covering all the action, so I don't need to tell you that, and you can go and join Mark and Reese throughout the weekend as they bring you all the action. But at the end of the day, whilst you're listening to them, you also want to be able to watch the action, and with a VPN, that is possible. So we recommend ExpressVPN, or else we can also use Bitdefender, who are bringing you the entire weekend, and they've got their own VPN as part of their cybersecurity offering, which is absolutely brilliant. One of the world leaders in cybersecurity are Bitdefender. Go and get yourselves a description. Check the description below for both a link to ExpressVPN or Bitdefender. Bitdefender does have a VPN as part of their cybersecurity, so not only have they got the cybersecurity, they've got a VPN as well, which will be even more secure. So go and check that out down in the description below. Right, how are you going to watch the action? Well, the good news is and I find the easiest is actually on service. There's actually two different broadcasters. RTBF is available in Belgium, or I found in Austria, Service TV works the best. And that's currently what I'm going to show you to do. So first things first, down in the description, you're going to go download either ExpressVPN or get Bitdefender, and you're going to connect to a Austrian server. So as you can see, that is what ExpressVPN looks like. Link down in the description over there. And as you can see, we are connected to an Austrian server. As a result, you then go to the server's website, and hey, there it is. It's working. And basically what it does, geolocates your device to make it seem as if you are in Austria, and you can watch all the action. If you were to, for example, trying to watch this without a VPN, the video just wouldn't play. It's that simple, to be honest. And that's why you need yourself a VPN. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. If you don't have a VPN, it's going to look like this. It's going to say the video is unavailable. So VPN, connect to Austria, go to service, watch all the action, smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, come and watch all the action with us as well this weekend. Mark and Reese love bringing it to you, and we love having you in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I will chat to you guys all very soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Motorsports on Forever Sports for the sprint shootout here on this Saturday morning. It's the weather is certainly going to be a thing today. It looks like some
Looks like
people
it's a
wearing
little
some.
bit damp out
Yeah,
there.
it's a little damp. Looks like rain will be a factor, which is going to be a huge difference, of course, to qualifying yesterday, where there was no rain at all. So we weren't affected by that. And yesterday in qualifying, we saw Max Verstappen and then the two Ferraris take the top 3 places. Now it's slightly different weather conditions. Now we don't know again. Major people that have to step up from yesterday, likes of Sergio Perez. There are still points up for grabs for him in terms of trying to make something happen from this weekend. If he can somehow get a decent sprint shootout here today, he can then, of course, move towards the top end of the points for sprint, which is now 8 points if he wins.
I think though, if yesterday's any indicator, I don't know if he will be able to even get in a good qualifying lap today. I mean, it looks like it is a little bit damp out there. The paddock looking quite damp out there. But I mean, yeah, if we get another thunder shower or a little bit of rain, it could really make it quite difficult for drivers out there. And then it's going to be extremely difficult with these track limits.
Yeah, I mean, track limits were a big thing yesterday with regards to those last couple of turns. We saw lots of track times deleted, and right at the end, they also saw a couple of drivers fall right below where they should have been. Obviously Sergio Perez being one of the main ones who got eliminated 4 times. Well, he's got his lap times deleted 4 times in that qualifying session.
Qualifying, yeah.
In the second session.
Qualifying session for him.
Second qualifying session for him. I mean, not a single lap did he manage to get in the Q2 that wasn't impeded for track limits. So he's got to prove himself today. There's other drivers like Nick de Vries has to really prove himself today. Logan Sargent as well, really not doing particularly well either. But the Ferraris did quite well. The Aston Martins must have been a little bit disappointed with regards to their performance yesterday. Hopefully, Alonso can pull something out of the bag there. And also the Mercs, George Russell dropped out, was very slow in Q2. He was only in 11th for the race tomorrow. So let's see what he can do in the shootout now.
Well, talking about drivers that are certainly at risk here, Nick de Vries is really not having a great season at the moment. We've been speaking about it over the last few races. I don't think we'll see him in the seat for too much longer. I think Red Bull are getting rather impatient. They brought on a very, very confident and very experienced driver to join Yuki Tsunoda in that AlphaTauri seat, and he's just really not performed very well this year. I mean, I was certainly expecting him to do well, but I mean, he's just really disappointed all of us, I think. I mean, he's had such a good he's got such a good pedigree. He's won in Formula E. He's done really well in the junior formulas as well. And just really, really struggling in this Formula One category at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the running titles now, so we're very, very close to the sprint shootout. And it pretty much runs very similarly to qualifying. It's a very similar sort of setup. So not too much to go into that. But yeah, Nick de Vries needs to improve. Logan Sargent, the other one, of course, very much at risk. Only finished in 18th yesterday. Kevin Magnussen started to be very slow in qualifying as well recently in recent races as well.
I wonder if they're just moving in a direction at Haas that maybe plays more towards Hülkenberg's driving style further away than Magnussen's driving style. Because, Hülkenberg really is able to get a lot of pace out of that car in one lap. But, it's Magnussen that's struggling. Yeah.
Magnussen's struggling. Hülkenberg seems to do very well in qualifying, and yet again made it into Q3 for this weekend. So let's see how he can fare today. Right now, the track is dry, but it certainly looks like rain could be a factor, or at least it's a little bit more damp than yesterday. There are bigger jackets being used by all of the people out on the track right now.
Certainly looks a little bit cold out there, but still dry at the moment. We could get some rain though later. You never know here in Austria. It does just move in at the last minute with no warning really, but I mean, it could really make it quite exciting for us.
Indeed, and so just to let you know about the track distance, 4.3 kilometers, and top speed has reached about 70% of the track, or at least full throttles on 70% of the track. There are 10 turns, only 10 turns in this track, so not too many there. And I mean, we saw that turns 9 and 10 are the real problem factors for track limits. So we're going to hope that drivers can hold themselves within those lines. Max Verstappen was complaining about those track limits. Notably, the weather conditions here, cloudy, high
16
humidity.
degrees 16 degrees Celsius at the moment is the air temperature. 21 degrees Celsius is the track temperature. So it's very, very cold out here in Austria. We do see a lot of cloud cover though over those mountains, and
Yeah.
they could very, very quickly move towards that track.
And the most important factor out of all of those stats, the fact that it's 84% humidity. So 84% humidity means that this is very likely to be a wet sprint shootout, or at least damp. It's
Yes.
certainly in danger of having weather conditions affected. It's going to be a much colder track than yesterday. Yesterday we saw 40 degrees, and it's 60. It was 21 degrees right now. The track, so it's literally half the temperature of yesterday. So the tires will not be as quick, and it's going to certainly affect a lot of the drivers and the cars.
Yes, just a little bit more information about the track that we are at. It has turn 10s. Full throttle is spent at around 70% of this track. The top speed down those DRS straights is around 331 kilometers an hour, 205 miles an hour for those of you who live across the ocean that we don't talk about. Downforce here is a medium downforce track. It's not too high on downforce. I mean, there are some really tricky corners, but you can see that we don't need too high downforce of a setup. And tire wear at this track is relatively low, so we could be expecting maybe a one stop on Sunday, depending of course on what the track temperature and what track conditions are, because there is also rain predicted for tomorrow.
Indeed, yeah, weather's going to be certainly a big factor for the weekend. We've already seen that Mercedes there of Lewis Hamilton's made his way out very early to go and put some laps, and they know they need to try and get out there as early as possible, weather being a factor here. So you see a huge pile of cars getting ready there. The Williams leading them out
That
there.
pit lane looks wet. Look, you can see over
Yeah,
the black marker,
it's certainly
wet.
rained today already in Austria. So
The track does look quite damp out there. There is a damp line.
there is a dry line to follow though, at least. So most of the tires that I'm seeing are dry tires, but they're going to need to try and get some laps in as early as possible, because if rain is a factor, of course, we've seen what happened in Canada. So we really want to make sure that all these drivers get their quick times in as quickly as possible. Sergio Perez, the big one, all the eyes are on. Of course, he has to do something big today. He really messed up yesterday, yet again. Fourth qualifying in a row that he has not made Q3. That is shocking for a Red Bull.
Yes, absolutely dismal for that second Red Bull car. I think we can pretty much confidently say now he is that second Red Bull car, because he's really not able to match Verstappen. Early on this year, it was a bit of an unknown who was going to be the stronger in that team, because Perez was looking quite strong in the first few races, but now he's not. They are out on intermediates, Mark.
Yeah, they are out on intermediates. I thought I saw quite a few slick tires there, but yeah, they aren't intermediates at the moment because the track is still a little bit damp. So that's going to be a big factor in terms of time. So much slower times than yesterday. Now, notably for the sprint, the time that they've got, only 12 minutes in this first shootout. So shootout 1 is only 12 minutes versus qualifying 1, which is 18. So a much
Just
shorter
looking
period
at
of
the
time.
radar there, we could get, well, it says no significant rain expected in the next 20 minutes. A few drops are possible, though, as we see
because Hamilton's on slicks.
Hamilton is out on slicks. We did get a few of the first runners out on intermediates. It looks like Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri there is out on inters. Are the Astons on slicks? Yes, they are. They are.
So
also
there's a
on
few people on
softs.
slicks. There's a few people on intermediate tires. So yeah, I mean, there's medium tires as well being used. There's a whole range of tires being utilized here for the sprint shootout. So going to see some very interesting lap times. Going to maybe see a couple of crashes or otherwise people coming off the track because the conditions are not very favorable.
No, not at all. I mean, we could see a bit more as we do see those inter runners actually just coming into the pits now, possibly to change over to a set of slicks because they feel that the track is dry enough. It certainly didn't look too wet out there. It looked a little bit damp in sections, but I think it should be fine enough to be able to get out there on a set of slicks.
Yeah, so we're going to wait these first few lap times now as they get put in from all these drivers. And again, sprint shootout, much shorter than the qualifying sessions. So only got 10 minutes left of shootout 1. And we're now following Ocon, who's going to set our first fast lap of the day.
10 minutes now left of the session. Yeah, not a very long first sprint shootout. But please do let us know in the comment section if you do like the sprint format that we have this race weekend. There's a lot of controversy. Some people like it, some people don't. It's
Bring them
interesting.
on. I love the sprint weekend.
Science just saying I have a brake-by-wire failure. Let me know. Brake pedal feels strange. That is certainly not great for Carlos Sainz, who hasn't even set a fast lap yet.
Indeed. And whilst we are waiting for these first few laps to get put in here, although Ocon is coming around the final 2 corners, so let's just see what sort of time he puts in. But we are pleased to announce that we've got a partner for this weekend and a sponsor for this weekend. That is Bitdefender, Bitdefender Cyber Security. So please do go and check them out in the description and in the chat of the videos. Ocon crosses the line now, a 1 minute 12. There's a yellow flag in sector 3 already. I think that's a Ferrari.
The Ferrari has stopped.
Right before the pit lane.
Is that the Ferrari or is that a? It may be a Alfa Romeo. Zhou Guan Yu.
He might have spun, maybe. Perhaps,
yeah, there
because,
was a bit of smoke there in that section. We do have now Leclerc finishing his first hot lap, only puts himself third because of that yellow flag. He had to slow down in the final sector.
Yeah, so Russell currently sits in first, a 1 minute 10.8. Ocon a 1:12.2.
Science is in the pits. Science is in the pits. So I don't know if they are able to fix that brake issue. We do see his rear brakes are really smoking away there.
Yeah.
Certainly a big issue on the rears.
Yeah, so they're going to need to sort out that issue as quickly as possible. Only 8.5 minutes left as Alonso now goes quickest, a 1 minute 10.3. However, Verstappen following close behind. So let's see what sort of time Verstappen can put
one
in.
of the only top runners on a set of mediums at the moment. Magnussen also, but Max has just gone over.
That's why I say I think he's definitely gone over track limits there, Max. So he's going to have to do that lap again.
He
Certainly
did
will be deleted.
back off though, and now he's going on another hot lap. I think he still goes fastest.
Yeah, but it'll be deleted.
Yeah,
it'll definitely be deleted. Perez is now coming over the line. Big weekend for him, and he goes slow all the way down in 10th.
On the set of softs.
On the set of softs, Perez has gone very slow. Hamilton's set a new purple sector in sector 1. So Hamilton's going very quickly this session already. Reddy's trying to put the pedal to the metal and make a statement. He's gone quickest in the second sector now as well, but somebody's stolen the first sector from him. I think it's perhaps Max Verstappen, who's now going around in his second attempt. Hamilton now coming around the final corner here. Let's see if he can hold his car within track limits. Absolutely fine there. And should get a sub 110 here quite easily.
Sargent goes sixth. Brilliant from Sargent.
Yeah, and Hamilton there gets... Oh, De Vries now goes into first place. So driver, we really...
track is drying out quite quickly now.
The dry line is being created by all these drivers that go around. So all these times are significantly dropping. So we see a replay here of Zhou Guan Yu just spinning the car there.
It's quite wet into that final sector. It is also very, very tricky sector downhill braking. I mean, a lot of drivers can get caught out, and Zhou Guan Yu did just completely lose it. Unfortunately, Max Verstappen's lap time has been deleted, but he has now set another one. So he's back at the top yet again.
Yeah, and Tsunoda now goes ahead of Verstappen. So it's going to be a very interesting little shootout 1 year, because the later you put your lap in, the higher it's going to finish, because the track is just permanently drying and drying and drying.
Now goes fastest. Russell with a 1 minute 8 seconds. Piastri.
And now Piastri goes. So every single car that's crossing the line is just permanently taking first place. The track is very much drying. So it's great to see, but it's going to cause a lot of issues for a lot of drivers. You can't actually afford to come back into the pits. So right now, Carlos Sainz has got a big problem being in the pits with that rear brake issue.
I don't know if he's going to get out.
Yeah, if they can't fix it in time, it's going to be a huge problem for Ferrari. After such a brilliant qualifying yesterday, could have a disastrous shootout sprint. Sprint shootout. We'll get there.
We're still learning. Norris now goes fastest with a 1 minute 7.
Although here comes Alonso, who's up on Alonso's time. Sorry, I just want to see. Oh, yeah,
just down. But he has the fastest final sector.
Yeah, so Alonso's moved into second. Norris is currently in first. DRS is wide open here for Charles Leclerc, who's also up on Norris's time. So let's see how he can fare.
Perez's time has been deleted yet again. We did say this before the session started. Will Sergio Perez be able to even get a lap in here today?
Yeah, I mean...
Max Verstappen's time has been deleted once again.
Oh, my word. So this is going to cause... Has it?
Has it?
No,
sorry.
I think it's just drops.
Sorry, it's just because the track is evolving so quickly.
He's on the medium tire, so he has to make sure that he can make it into the next shootout. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. Leclerc now coming into the final...
time has now been deleted.
Coming into the final turn here. He could put a new fastest lap here. Not able to. Actually quite a bit slow.
In 7th.
Yeah, only all the way down in 7th, Charles Leclerc. So currently we have Norris first, Alonso second, Tsunoda in third. We've just seen a Merc leave the pits in a very aggressive fashion, wants to get back out there as quickly as possible.
Very slow pit stop for the Alpine of, I think this is Gasly.
Yeah, they're waiting for something to happen. So not looking good there at all for...
Looks like everyone's going out on a set of mediums. Wonder if it's because they understand that they need to stay out for as long as possible because this track is evolving so quickly. They just feel that it's more beneficial to stay out on a set of mediums.
Albon now has gone fastest in the second sector. Let's see what time he puts in here. He could set a new fastest time if he can get over the line in time. Should be able to. Yes, he does.
Wow.
Just, my word, very, very good drive yet again from Alex Albon. Pushed himself into first with just 4.5 minutes left. of this session. So the Williams of Albon doing very well. The Williams of Sargent, however, right at the back. Only Sainz behind him, and Sainz hasn't yet set a time, of course.
Perez currently up in the middle sector. Max Verstappen about to finish another hot lap. Will he be able to take the fastest lap time on this current lap? Looking very close there to the track limits, but well within. Will he be able to take this fastest time? Yes, he does. 107.2.
Sergio Perez, though, takes it, sorry, he's just right there, 107.0.
Well, he is on a set of softs, and he did have the toe from his teammate. But let's see what Piastri can do now. Comes across the line, puts himself, stays in 7th, unfortunately. Leclerc is in the pits.
Yeah, Leclerc's dived into the pits now. So following Norris, who set a purple sector in Sector 2, and he's gone very quickly in Sector 1. So this, if he can keep it up, could be a new fastest lap again with just 3 minutes and a bit. Oh, Sargent now goes 3rd fastest.
He had a bit of a moment there, though, into turn 6, but he was able to hold on to it. Now coming through turn 9. Now the very tricky turn 10, making his way through the DRS zone now. What will this lap time be?
Slow,
it's a bit slow because of
yeah.
that moment, but still able to hold on to 5th.
Yeah, so just 3.5 minutes left to the sprint shootout, and there's still lots that could happen here. We see Sainz is currently not on the track, still in the pits. Will they be able to get him out before the end of this? Hamilton's very close. So is Stroll, very close to the drivers, to the elimination zone. Following now on board with Hamilton, who's going around quite quickly. Yeah, he's up on all his times in the first 2 sectors. Let's see how he fares in the final corner.
He's about 0.2 off of Perez this time at the moment. Will he be able to beat it? Let's see now. Comes across the line, goes into 3rd. Good lap time from Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, finally finding some form again, Lewis Hamilton's been literally months and months and months since like even last year as well, of course. Not making
in the pits, though.
Not winning a single race last season or this season yet, but he seems to be finding a lot more form. Watching a replay here of Oscar Piastri getting very impeded by, I think that's Charles Leclerc, of course.
Yeah.
That's going to...
Yeah, that may be investigated, but I don't think it was necessarily Leclerc's fault. He was going into the pits. It's tricky because they put the pit entry on the racing line. So what do you expect?
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem because you can't really move out the way. You have to stay within the pit lines as well when you're entering. Stroll now on a fast lap. He's currently very much in the relegation zone in 16th position. Needs to be a very good lap in here for Aston Martin. He did outperform his teammate yesterday in qualifying, a very rare occurrence. So let's see if he can do the same today. But he does need to get out of that relegation zone right now. Magnussen puts himself up into 4th position. Great lap there. And Zhou now crosses the line quite slow. Zhou is still in that danger zone. Just 2 minutes to go.
De Vries moves himself up into 7th as Hamilton now takes the fastest lap time of the session, a 106.2.
And Alonso does the same, basically, 106.8. Now, Stroll's crossing the line. It's going to be quick enough. It's 7th position. He's still got 1 minute and 40 seconds to put another lap in. Is he going to put another lap in?
He should have enough time to cool his car down and get back to the start-finish line. But, yeah, his tires might be a little bit overheated by now. He should be safe with his current lap time.
Yeah, Leclerc's gone a little bit slow, and he's currently in the relegation zone.
I was about to say, currently our bottom 5 drivers are Gasly, Bottas, Leclerc, Zhou, and Carlos Sainz. 2 Ferraris in the bottom 5. We had them at the top of qualifying yesterday. What is going on for Ferrari today?
Yeah, let's see what Leclerc can do here, because he does seem quite slow in that first sector. So hopefully he's picked up speed in the final sectors. He's going to come across the line and just a little bit here, but he still looks like he's a bit far away for me. Is he going to get over in enough time? No, it's going to be slow. He's still in the relegation zone. He's got 1 minute. He has to push this lap.
Hamilton's lap time has been deleted. Norris now goes fastest out of everyone. They will have hopefully 1 more lap in them. Sainz on the radio, though.
Yeah, 50 seconds left here. Shootout 1, and so much is happening. Albon has gone quicker in the first 2 sectors than Norris's quickest time. So Albon is on track to go and put the fastest time here in the sprint. It's going to be right down to the wire here with just 30 seconds left.
Carlos Sainz on the radio, furious with the team. The teaming telling him more warm-up, saying go for another warm-up lap. And Carlos going, no, let's go for a time lap.
No, you have to go for a time lap. There's no time to start a warm-up lap. We've only got 20 seconds left of the sprint. Albon goes over 3rd fastest. Alonso sits in 2nd. Norris in 1st right now.
Sainz has started his first time lap of the session. Leclerc, though, doing quite well in this middle sector at the moment. 0.3 up on his personal best time. He should be able to take himself out of that bottom 5.
I'm going to be watching Carlos Sainz with great interest, of course. He's going to set his very first time. It's going to be the only time he can set in this qualifying, in this shootout session. So, yeah, Verstappen has gone quickest. Moves into 2nd on mediums as well. So, great lap there. Ocon moves to 4th. Leclerc now moves himself into 8th position. Zhou, Bottas, Gasly, Sargent, the ones currently in that relegation zone. So is Sainz, but Sainz is now going to come across the line in about...
Sainz has a fastest first sector.
That's very impressive considering this is his first actual lap on the track. So great driving from Sainz so far. He's got a little bit slower than Verstappen, though, in the 2nd sector. If he could just keep up his time, though, he should be safe. And get out of jail free card there for Ferrari right at the end here. My word, all of this happening as the shootout one is, of course, finished. So as they come across the line, it's going to be it.
It's within track limits in turn 9. Will he keep it in turn
yeah,
10?
Does have to make sure of that. Will he go quickest? He could go quickest.
Yes,
he
he
does.
does.
That is absolutely brilliant driving from Carlos Sainz.
Hamilton is out. Hamilton is out.
Hamilton's currently out. Well, he's currently still doing his lap. So let's see if he can stay and put a quicker lap. Stroll's now moved into the relegation zone. He's still completing his lap. I don't know if Hamilton's going to be able to finish his lap. Stroll now coming across the line. Should he get himself out of the relegation zone? Looks like it's going to be a good lap, so he should be able to. He does move right up into 4th position. Leclerc now at risk in 15th, and he's finished. So if Hamilton goes over quicker in his lap time now, then Leclerc will be eliminated. We're not following Hamilton, though, so is he actually even doing a push lap?
I don't think he is. I think Hamilton is out of the session.
No, Hamilton's in the pits.
Hamilton.
Oh, disaster class for Lewis Hamilton. Having his lap time deleted, which was a great lap. He's
Hamilton
now
on the
out.
radio.
My word.
Just saying really bad timing, unfortunately. Just asking, am I out? And just being told, yes, we are, looking very dejected in that car with his hands up on the steering wheel. Yeah, a bit of a shocker from Hamilton.
Still, however, we're going to wait for track limits. Those are going to come into play, of course. We could see
here.
something like that happen if somebody's gone out of track limits. But
I think he's way too far down, though. In 18,
yeah,
we even benefit from track limits right now.
So Leclerc very, very close to being eliminated there. All the way down to 15th position. Just stays in the unbelievable drive from Carlos Sainz. His first lap time in shootout 1 after having a brake issue came out, literally had to set the first lap time. The only one he could set. He had 15 seconds before the end of the shootout 1, and he goes quickest in that station. Unbelievable driving.
Russell on the radio.
So just to confirm there, the bottom 5 that have been eliminated from shootout 1. Logan Sargent in 20th. No surprises there. I was watching a replay, sorry, of Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, just seeing that shows track limits become a problem where he lost his track time there. Watching our replay of
Max has been held up.
No,
Max has been held up by Russell.
He's fine. I don't think it's a big problem.
It's Hamilton, sorry, not Russell. But he did get blocked in the last corner. You can lose a little bit of lap time. We may see that being investigated.
Oh, my word. Oh, shame. Yeah, just watching a replay there of Alex Albon. Is that Sargent? No, Sargent. Oh, my word. Really lost it, hey?
Really weaving all over the place in that downward braking of turn
Now watching 9. A replay now of George Russell as well, coming into turn
just
3?
Completely brake late, turn 3, yes.
Yeah, just braking very late there, and just loses lap time as a result of that. So,
I mean, this track is so different now. They've only had a single practice session. They went straight into qualifying then yesterday afternoon. Now they've got qualifying again today, and the track is completely different because of the rain. The rain has washed away all the rubber that was put down yesterday.
Indeed.
It is so slippery out there on track.
So just confirming our 5 drivers that were eliminated from that session. Guan Yu Zhou, Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Logan Sargent. Of course, the big name there being Lewis Hamilton got his track time deleted. So he is out of the shootout, and he's going to start the sprint race in 18th position, and that's unbelievable.
It should make it quite exciting though later this evening to see Hamilton fighting through the grid a bit. But yeah, he will be relatively livid there.
Yeah, and while
Sargent's super upset on the radio.
Yeah, well,
what can he expect though? He's finished really near the end in every single session this year.
Yeah, indeed. But whilst we do have a break, let me talk about our partner and our sponsor for this weekend's Austria Grand Prix Watchalong, and that is Bitdefender, of course. As we keep going back to them, we like to associate ourselves with Ferrari. They also sponsor Ferrari. So if you want to be involved and say, I'm involved, it's not a Ferrari also uses, you can go and check out our partner and join up with Bitdefender. Bitdefender Autopilot is designed to act as a security advisor and to give you deeper insights into your security posture. Its smart capabilities mean that it can recommend security actions in the context of your system needs and usage patterns. If you want to learn more about Bitdefender's Autopilot, then please click on the link in the description or in the chat. And of course, Autopilot for them is a bit like Autopilot for these drivers as well as they go around the circuit, performing all these laps. So little room for error for a lot of these drivers, and we see Alex Albon yet again doing very, very well in these qualifying sessions and just really driving so well this year.
I think there needs to be a Driver of the Year award at the end, because I think
Alex Albon's leading it.
Will definitely get that. He's had such a stellar season so far, just really outperforming that car. Hamilton out of the car at the moment, walking down towards the weigh-in zone at the moment, just looking quite dejected. He's actually looking at the Red Bull garage right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just waiting for the
He's
car to
waiting
come out.
get
That's
through
all.
because
So,
they're
yeah.
at the end of the grid. So he's now walking to Park Ferme, where he will go and get weighed and go do his press junkets before he can go home, pretty much before the sprint.
Before the sprint later. And it's going to be a difficult sprint for him, starting all the way down in 18th position. Cars now are making their way down the pit lane to the start of the Shootout 2, the second Shootout session. So let's see what happens there. We didn't lose any Ferraris. We all were very much at risk of losing both of them.
Very, very
but
close.
they managed to get out of that zone there. Again, brilliant driving from Carlos Sainz there.
Red Bull's deciding to send their drivers out on used soft tires, so not wanting to use a brand new set just yet. Possibly a good decision from them, not using too many sets in this sprint qualifying session, but hopefully they'll be able to get good enough lap times to stay competitive with those old tires.
Yeah, indeed. And welcome to everybody who's joining us for the sprint shootout session. We're very glad to have you here. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for all future uploads as well. Otherwise, let us know in the comments as well. Who are you supporting? Who are you backing? What surprises you so far in this session as well? As we do see both Red Bulls waiting very much at the end of the pit lane here to get out into Shootout 2.
Once again, we always see from Red Bull, I think after Max Verstappen learned, I think it was in Monaco where he was caught out. Yes, he was caught out in Monaco a few years ago when Perez bottled it into the wall. I think, he's just not willing to get caught out yet again, and he always wants to be the first driver to leave at the beginning of Q1.
He got caught out earlier this year already in, I can't remember which race weekend it was, but he got caught out big time with coming out late, and then the rain affected his lap, and he got sent all the way down to, I think it was 13th position. He still managed to fight his way back, obviously right to the top, but doesn't want to wants to avoid having that situation at all costs. As we do now have the start of Shootout 2, and Max Verstappen leads them all out.
Creamy just asking there in the comment section, Hamilton out? ? Yes, Hamilton is out of the first sprint shootout session. He was not able to get a good enough lap time, and he did get a good lap time in, but it was deleted due to track limits. So unfortunately, Hamilton will be starting all the way down in P18 later this afternoon for that sprint session.
Yeah, not a great result there for Lewis Hamilton. We've got 9 minutes left of Shootout 2. So, again, a short session here.
It's shorter than the first session. 12 minutes for the first session, 10 minutes for the second session. I wonder how long the third session will be.
8 minutes. I know it is. It's 8 minutes, or I think it's 7 minutes. So it's very, very, very quick, the shootout, of course. Well, the sprint shootout. Very, very quick. It's quicker than qualifying. It's a very short session. So, yeah, glad you can all join us here for it. So, we've got a whole lot of drivers still on the grid. We've lost both Alfa Romeos. We've lost Logan Sargent, and we've lost Lewis Hamilton.
Very disappointing, I'm sure, for all of the Mercedes fans out here, as well as on the Mercedes pit wall. They will not be impressed at all at that. But unfortunately, it happens here in Austria. It's so difficult to stay within these white lines. It is a tricky track, as we see Verstappen starting his first hot lap. It's happened to Max Verstappen yesterday. It happened multiple times to Sergio Perez. Hopefully, he's learned his lesson and will not go track limits in this session, because if he does, he could find himself starting the sprint race quite far down.
Yeah, and of course,
it's for tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, and of course, the sprint race is very rare that you see anybody come into the pits. It's not really opting for a pit stop in the sprint race. You don't have to, of course, so nobody does, unless weather conditions, of course, put a stop to that. But if you're starting all the way back, you can't utilize any of those sort of strategies. It just comes down to your driving and the pace of the car, because basically you go flat out. That's what's cool about the sprint. You go flat out for a short period of time, racing against everybody else and trying to get as high as possible.
Hence the name sprint.
Yes, well, just saying that it's. I don't understand why some people don't enjoy it. I love the sprint race weekend.
Oh, it definitely makes the sprint race extremely exciting. Max Verstappen now coming through the final sector, turn 9, well within track limits there. Turn 10, also well within track limits. A little bit of snap of oversteer, but still holding on to that car. Comes across the line with a 1 minute 5.6, so the fastest lap of this day so far.
Lando Norris gets very close to track limits, but does manage to keep it in. He goes over in a 106.009. Ocon now following him. He's going to put in also a 106.1. Perez is going quite quickly around the track right now, but slower than Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen still holding on to those purple sectors so far, as Perez now coming down that final straight before those last two corners. Can he hold his track limits? Yes, I think he's learned. He's very much inside the track limits now. He probably is losing a bit of time as a result of that, though, one would imagine.
Yes, I think he's just being very, very cautious. And we can see that because he's over a second slower than his teammate. Sorry, half a second slower than his teammate.
Yeah, so Perez being very cautious around those final 2 turns. Maybe he's been told to keep it very much within the lines in those last 2 turns before the final shootout. So to make it into the final shootout and then risk it a little bit more. Alonso moved into second. Great lap time from him. We haven't talked about Alonso much this weekend, but he's moved into second now. Let's see if we can hold on to it. Just 6.5 minutes left of this session.
I don't think we can downplay Alonso too much because I think he should be quite competitive in the sprint race today as well as the race tomorrow. I mean, we can never count out Fernando Alonso. He's just such a brilliant driver. He does have his teammate to fight though tomorrow who will be starting ahead of him in the race. He had a brilliant qualifying session yesterday, Lance Stroll. As much as I've been downplaying him this race weekend, he did have a very good qualifying session and was able to, on pure pace, out-qualify his teammate.
Indeed. So great driving from Lance Stroll. He's up in 4th right now as well. So doing half decently today. Carlos Sainz now coming around the final corner. Stays within track limits. How is he going to get a fare with this lap time? Yeah, should be a sub 1.6. Yeah, he moves into 2nd place now. His teammate Charles Leclerc follows him. And quite slow for Charles Leclerc. All the way down in 9th position. So he's very much at risk of getting eliminated. Certainly not going to be safe.
Going on at the moment on George Russell's car. I did hear him say on the radio that there's an issue with the brakes or something. So it does look like they're busy fixing the brake well, at least a little reservoir that allows brake pressure. It looks like they're busy swapping that out at the moment.
Yeah, so just 5 minutes left of this session, and we saw Ferrari have to go and deal with a brake issue on Sainz in the first session. Now Mercedes having to deal with George Russell's
10
issue.
mechanics working on that car at the moment.
Yeah, so
it's
basically a fight between Ferrari and Mercedes in terms of which mechanics are better to fix an issue. Ferrari managed to fix Sainz's issue so he could get a lap right at the end there, put the fastest lap in as well, might I add. So great work from Ferrari there. Can Mercedes match that with George Russell, who of course is still in the pits? So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Dominic Toretto in our comment section.
Oh, there you go. Family is all about this. Yeah.
Please stop making movies. There's too many now. But yes, just asking what happened to George, which we did let you know. But yes, hopefully Hulkenberg, who's on a hot lap at the moment, will be able to get himself out of that driver at risk zone. He's currently sitting in P11. He'll be wanting to move himself at least into the top 5.
Yeah, Hulkenberg, a great qualifying driver. We've seen over the course of the season that he's tends to get some very, very quick times in qualifying. Unfortunately, when it comes to I think track limits are going to be a problem there for Hulkenberg.
Ever so slightly gone over. He does move himself out of that bottom 10 into 7th, but he definitely did go
I think
over
track limits will be a problem there. Verstappen still sits in first quite comfortably, 105.6. Sainz in second is in pits, and so is Leclerc now. So they're very quickly rushing them in. I think they want to maybe change tires. What do they want? Oh, they're changing tires.
Yeah, they were also on an old set of softs. I think everyone started that session on the previous session. Softs. De Vries has also gone over track limits there for sure.
It's a slow time anyway. It doesn't matter too much. He's still in that relegation zone. Alonso improved on his time, but still sits in 4th. Perez now has moved into 2nd position, just 0.2 seconds behind his teammate. Tsunoda now coming across the line. Ooh, almost close to track limits, but I think he's fine. He moves himself just out of the relegation zone. He'll surely move back into that as Albon now crosses the line into 9th and pushes Tsunoda back into the relegation zone. So De Vries currently sits in 13th, Gasly in 14th, who's in the pits still, Leclerc in 12th, Tsunoda 11th, George Russell in 15th. So Charles Leclerc needs to get out into the track as quickly as possible, currently in the relegation zone, and same as George Russell, who's still having his car worked on. But it looks like they're getting towards the end. It does not
look like they're going to be able to fix this. Russell will be starting from 15th unless they are able to fix that.
Well, you say that, it looks like they're getting towards the end of that. It looks like they're getting towards the latter end of that.
It's very tight. They have 2 minutes and 58 seconds. It's going to take around 1 minute and 50 seconds for him to do a warm-up lap. It's going to be
maybe
very
he has
tight.
to treat the warm-up lap,
tight.
as a push lap, basically. So he's going to have to get out with at least 1.5 minutes left of the session. So he's got about a minute left to get that issue sorted. So they really need to get motoring there in the Mercedes pit.
We do have a bunch of drivers though on outlaps at the moment. We have Sainz, Alonso, Norris, Leclerc, as well as Perez now going into the pits.
Yeah, so Magnussen now coming across the line. Let's see what sort of time he puts in. He's been going quite decently. It could be a sub 1.6.
Oh, my word. Within track limits that time.
Into 2nd position.
With a 1:05, as Ocon now goes fastest with a 1:05.6. This track is really evolving quite quickly here.
Yeah, so I think Ocon should be safe if he should hold on to that, but Verstappen's now obviously going to go out on probably a new set of soft tires. Perez also making his way out.
Still issues for the sister Alpine. I mean, he's back in the pits again. They had the starter motor there. I mean, what is going on with that second Alpine?
Well, they're sending him out now, so hopefully he's going to be all right. That is Gasly, of course, so hopefully he can put in a decent time right at the end. Charles Leclerc now on his out lap. Let's see if he can get himself out of the relegation zone.
De Vries has had his lap time deleted, as we did think it would be. I mean, he's all the way down in 14th anyway, so...
Yeah, Russell has not made his way out of the pits as of yet. There's only 1.5 minutes left, so I don't think he's going to get out of the pits. So a disaster day for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton in 18th for the sprint. George Russell in 15th currently, and doesn't look like that's going to change. Charles Leclerc, however, on a push lap, he's currently in 12th as well. So he needs to get out of that zone as well, but going around quite quickly, so should be able to.
We were talking about the top speeds of the Ferraris versus the Mercedes yesterday. Mercedes reaching 313. I've just seen the Ferrari reach 321 kilometers an hour. Logan Sargent in the Williams, his fastest lap, his fastest time in the speed trap is also 321. And then the Red Bulls were 320. So it's very evenly matched between a bunch of the drivers out there.
Yeah, and just still following on Charles Leclerc's gone a little bit slower, as though Carlos Sainz now goes faster, so 105.4. Now Charles Leclerc comes around the final bend. It's quite a slow lap for him, though, so he needs to push because he's only got 40 seconds left. So a very slow lap. He definitely pulled off the throttle, I think, towards the end. They knew that his car wasn't going very quickly.
He won't be able to get around this track again. That's it for Leclerc.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's just pulled and started a new push lap now. He backed off right at the end. They realized his time was not going to be quick, and he's now pushing this lap. So he's going to really need some motor, but he's still slow on Albon's time.
So down.
So not looking good for Charles. He really needs the motor. He's sitting in 11th position strong, and Alonso 6th and 8th respectively. Albon is currently at risk in 10th position. Just 10 seconds left until Shootout 2 will, of course, close its allowance of more laps. So Charles Leclerc really needs to push here.
I mean, it's crazy to see how Charles Leclerc is really struggling here today compared to yesterday, where he was just so electric and so much on rails. He's up in the middle sector,
he's now up very much in the middle sector, so he's gained a lot of time there. So can he hold it in sector 3, which is where he made problems earlier?
He's struggling on a low grip circuit. Yeah, neat and tidy though through that final turn 9. Turn 10, will he stay within track limits ever so slightly? He
had to adjust a little bit. So will he get his time quick enough?
Yes,
very quick time.
Up into 4th.
Good driving there from Charles Leclerc. Norris moves into 5th position. Now Stroll and Alonso are starting to look at danger. Hulkenberg, the driver, at risk, but here comes the Aston Martins.
And George Russell has not gotten out of the pits. So unfortunately, that is the day over for George Russell. He will start the sprint race later in P15. Max Verstappen goes faster once again with a 105.3.
Oh dear, and now Stroll has not gone quicker than his lap. So he's finished in 9th position. There's a lot of cars coming over the line now. Will he move down? Slow time for Tsunoda, slow time for a few of those cars there. So he's still safe right now as Lance Stroll. Gasly's not able to get himself out of that relegation zone. So after those issues, he will start in 12th position.
It looks like there's definitely an issue with that sister Alpine. Gasly down in P12.
And that is the end
of P3.
Yeah, that is the end of Shootout 2. Sorry, just confirming there. George Russell, after all those issues, was not able to fix the car. He will start in 15th position in the sprint later. So disaster for Mercedes in this shootout. De Vries and Tsunoda, both Alpha tires, also eliminated. Pierre Gasly in 12th. And Alex Albon, unfortunately, does not make shootout 3. He will start in 11th position. Hulkenberg, yet again, makes the last session in a qualifying.
Good to see, though, George getting out of that car, still thanking all of his team members, even though they weren't able to get that car out, still saying thank you to them. I mean, it's a lot of work for them to try and fix that brake issue. It's not a quick fix, and they didn't have a lot of time to do it.
Yeah, so Pierre Gasly, unfortunately, out of the session. George Russell out of the session. So drivers we still have: Max Verstappen, both Red Bulls, both Ferraris, both Aston Martins, Magnussen and Hulkenberg. So both Haas. I didn't even realize Magnussen was there as well. So Magnussen, great drive from him, and Lando Norris and Ocon as well in the top 10.
There's definitely an issue for that Alpine because on the radio, Gasly was quite frustrated, understandably, and then the team said to him, don't worry, mate, not much we could do with that. So there's certainly an issue down there in there.
Oh, my word!
What did he go over? He drove over a tire. Oh, word. Nico Hulkenberg gets launched up into the air there. Just drives over a tire, catches it, and the whole rear end just bounces.
That is going to be meme worthy. That is hilarious. I'm sorry. That could have been ended in a disaster, but luckily it didn't.
Tsunoda, have you gone over track limits?
Yeah, but he's out anyway. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, well over track limits there.
But sorry, just watching Hulkenberg in the pits there, as he's leaving the pit lane, the tire was a little close to his rear tire and he turned a little early. And he actually, with his back left tire, drove over his the tire that just replaced. And his whole car just launched straight upwards as he's exiting. My word.
Oh, that is so dangerous there. a whole bunch of drivers just completely impeding Kevin Magnussen there.
Yeah, I think there's going to be big penalties for that because, oh my word,
That's
as well there.
unacceptable. I'm sorry. That is completely unacceptable. People driving very slowly to set themselves up.
Oh, my
I mean,
word.
it's happened twice in a row.
To an AlphaTauri as well. I think that's Nick de Vries that got
Yes, it
impeded
is.
badly there. So there's going to be some big penalties, I think, coming. You have to give penalties
That
for
will
that.
be a massive penalty.
Those are
and
penalties.
understandably, because
My
that is
word.
ridiculous.
Yeah, shocking driving for some of them. But that brings us to the end of Shootout 2. We're getting ready for Shootout 3. And whilst we have this break, let me talk yet again about our sponsor of the channel. And Bitdefender, we thank you very much for sponsoring this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix. So if you don't want to be tracked, then I would recommend checking out Bitdefender's anti-tracker extension. The anti-tracker extension blocks trackers that collect your data and allows you to view and manage this information on each website you visit. It keeps your browsing data private and enhances performance by loading web pages faster. If you want to learn more about Bitdefender's anti-tracker extension, then please click on the link in the description and in the chat.
Yuki Tsunoda, once again, just very animated on the radio, as per usual, saying, these track limits, what the are they?
Well, it didn't make a difference. He was going to be relegated anyway.
Yeah, clearly, he doesn't know what track limits are because he did go wide quite a few times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, Alex Albon out of this session, not able to go into another Q3 session, but still very, very well done from him, qualifying all the way up in P11.
And as James says in the comments, very much true. Just when you think Mercedes are coming back, they go and do this today. And terrible day for Mercedes, sitting in 18th and 15th for the sprint. Really not good. And we see Max Verstappen's already out, and so is Sergio Perez going down to the edge of the pit lane. There's still 2 minutes until Shootout 3 starts.
They are not getting caught out here. They don't want to get caught up by any traffic or any yellow flags or red flags, because this session is going to be very, very short.
Yeah. It's
They
going to be
are straight out away on brand new tires. From what I can see, they do look like they're on shiny red softs, so they will be quite fast here from their first hot laps.
Yeah, so just 1 minute and 45 seconds until we start the final shootout session for the sprint later. And you guys can catch that, of course, on Forever Motorsports, on Forever Sports here yet again. Just be sure to go and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We'll push you straight into that video, so don't go anywhere. And you'll have a long build-up package there, which also follows F3 and F2. They're going to be having their own sprint race in Austria. So that's going to be fantastic to watch as well. So be sure to be tuning in for that. And then it'll finalize with the F1 sprint later today as well. So it's all on this channel. So be sure to subscribe, like the video, and join me and Reese for all of that as well.
Yes, please do subscribe to the channel. We're so close now to getting to 28,000 subscribers. Just, I think, 300 away from there at the moment.
Yeah, just under 300 away from that. So let's just keep that subscriber basis going, guys. Join us there.
Spots of rain into turn 1.
Yes, I just noticed that as well. So that's going to put, that's why they want to get out early as possible.
Yes.
The track is a little bit dry right now. It looks like rain is going to start affecting the session.
I'm actually wrong. They're on used tires. I thought they were on brand new softs, but it does look like the Red Bulls are on used tires. Shootout 3, though, starts in 35 seconds.
Yeah, it was very, very close to the beginning of Shootout 3. So all of you in the comments, let us know what surprised you so far in this shootout. And otherwise, who you're supporting, who you're backing in the sprint race for later as well. As we're heading into the final Shootout 3 now, Max Verstappen looking very cool, calm, collected, and ready in his Oracle Red Bull helmet there, the white helmet, very, very famous nowadays, in that number 1 car, waiting, game face on, and very much right at the front of the pit lane. Sergio Perez a little bit behind that.
Less than 10 seconds now left to go. We should get underway very, very soon.
Ooh.
We do see what is happening here.
Just watch a replay of Max Verstappen's car, just releasing a lot of white smoke into the...
I think that may have been him. That was him restarting his car.
Yeah.
Because now with these hybrid systems, you are able to restart your car, but that was a big puff of smoke.
I'm sorry,
out of the
that's
back of
quite
Max's car.
funny to watch. It's the car's basically just released gas. Is essentially what's happening.
Catherine just asking, is Hamilton out? Yes,
Yes,
Lewis
very much
Hamilton
out.
is out. He was out in the first shootout session because his track time was deleted, and unfortunately, he will be starting the sprint race all the way down in 18th position.
Who do we want for P1? Well, I'll tell you something. I've got a few drivers in mind for P1. I would love to actually see a Ferrari on top. They've been racing very, very well this weekend. I'd love to see a Ferrari right near the top there. Of course, we are both of us Red Bull supporters, so Max Verstappen on top would, of course, be very nice for us as well. But we do back Max in the sprint anyway to get ahead of anybody who's ahead of him. So I'd quite like to see Fernando Alonso also maybe somehow out of nowhere put himself on top, but he's not really been showing too much this race weekend so far. So maybe he's leaving it all now for this final shootout 3, which is underway. It's just 7.5 minutes. So yeah, here we go as Max Verstappen's coming around the final corner to start his first hot lap, and this should be a fast one. I'm hoping a sub 105.
Well, we'll see. Yesterday we got very close to sub 103s, but I don't think we'll get that here today with a very green track yet again because of the rain that we had overnight. Going a little bit wide into turn 1, still within track limits. DRS now wide open for Verstappen. He should encounter a little bit of traffic, but they are keeping out the way. Purple sector 1 so far.
It's always going to maintain that purple sector, of course, leading it out. But Perez not able to beat his teammate, although he is following very closely, trying to get a bit of a tug. But seems to actually fallen away now due to a bit of traffic there that's ahead of him. So not getting that much of a tow. And this traffic is going to cause a problem for Sergio Perez on the corner here. I think he might have been impeded. Hopefully they got out the way of him. But Sergio Perez still continuing on. Max Verstappen now coming towards the end of Sector 2. Let's see what sort of time he puts in. 45.1. Let's see what Perez does in comparison. Let's see if he did get impeded. 45.2. So no, seems absolutely fine.
Yeah, Perez looking all right at the moment. Still getting that tow from his teammate. Even if he is still a little bit behind him, you do just ever so slightly get that tow. Max Verstappen now DRS wide open.
Sub 105, indeed, my word.
Yes, a 104.6, putting him quite comfortably into first position. Perez with a 105.080.
And Norris is also going very quickly around the track here, now coming into the final 2 corners. Let's see if he can get a sub 105 as well.
People are asking, sorry, if Leclerc is out. Leclerc is not out. Leclerc is currently in the pits, but he should go out very soon to put in a good lap time.
Oh, my word. Great lap from Lando Norris. Just goes ahead of Sergio Perez. I mean, just goes ahead of Sergio Perez there. Great lap time there from Lando Norris, a 105.0 as well. Carlos Sainz, a 105.1. Fernando Alonso is going relatively slowly, I think, actually, as he finishes Sector 2. They're coming down to the final 2 corners here. Lance Stroll also going very slowly. Yeah, we'll see what happens here with regards to those 2 drivers. I don't think they're going to be very quick up on those times ahead of them. As Fernando Alonso now comes across the line, yeah, a slow time, a 105.6, and Lance Stroll's, I think, going to be even slower than that as well. So not great for the Aston Martins. They definitely need to get another time in. Just 4.5 minutes left of the session.
Those Aston Martins don't seem to be as competitive this weekend. I was expecting them to be competitive around this circuit, which, well, I thought at least it would suit their car, but not so much. As we see Magnussen now coming through that second sector, still slow. A second off of Verstappen's time. That should put him around Alonso at the moment, but he may lose some more time in that final sector.
Interesting to note the fact that Sainz completed his lap on a set of medium tires. Hulkenberg, also medium tires, managed to go quicker than both Aston Martins on softs. So that's quite concerning for Aston Martin.
Yes, I don't understand why Aston Martin are struggling so much this weekend. Maybe because they prefer high-speed circuits, but I mean, they've got a Red Bull-esque style car, so you would expect them to be all right around a high downforce circuit as well.
But a Mercedes engine, and Mercedes engines have been struggling this weekend. Lando Norris, of course, all the way up in second, which doesn't really bide much to that. But both Williams are out, both Mercedes are out, and the Aston Martins are struggling here. So maybe the Mercedes engine cars are just not coping as well at the circuit.
I wonder if it's specifically to do with the altitude that they're at. They are very, very high up here in Australia, or in the Austrian Alps. I want to say Australian Alps. But yes, very high up in the Styrian Alps. It could be playing into it a little bit there. We've seen historically how Mercedes do struggle a little bit at altitude. Leclerc now starting his first lap now. A little bit down in the first sector, but a personal best for himself.
Yeah, it is his first lap, of course, so all of these will be personal bests as he goes around. Hopefully he can speed up in the second. We've seen his second sector and last sector does seem to improve dramatically in his first sector. His first sector, he goes slowly. And what was quite interesting to watch, and you guys can go check it out on Twitter, was a comparison of Charles Leclerc's lap and Max Verstappen's lap as they went round on their quickest qualifying laps yesterday, and see how Leclerc is slower than Max Verstappen in that first sector by quite a bit. And then suddenly in that second sector, he leaps ahead of Verstappen. And in the last sector there, just Verstappen comes back at him a little bit. They get so close, though, in that last sector. So very interesting to know that Charles Leclerc is a little bit weaker in that first sector, but better in the other sectors. As he now crosses the line in a 105.2. So not too bad, but still needs to improve on that to get further up the grid for the sprint later.
I mean, he's behind his teammate who's on mediums.
Yeah. It is a bit of a surprise. Carlos Sainz, though, I mean, fair play to him. He's been racing like a demon today so far. So, yeah, hopefully he can keep that up. Maybe put himself right near the top for the sprint later, just watching that wiggle, wiggle, wiggle at the back there for Charles Leclerc as he goes over the bollards.
I mean, he's lucky that this track does have such low degradation, so he should be able to go out on another hot lap on that same set of tires. It does look though that maybe he was just out on high fuel. Maybe that's why we do see Alonso now ramping up to start another hot lap, just making his way through that middle sector, approaching turn 9 and 10 now.
Yeah, I really, really want to see Fernando Alonso pull something out of the bag here. I'd love to see a very quick lap from him, and so he can compete in the sprint later. Of course, everybody's favorite driver, one of their favorite drivers, that is Fernando Alonso. A great, great icon for the sport. As he comes around the last two bends here on his out lap, or at least his slow lap, getting ready to gear up to start his final fast lap of the session. And he now crosses the line, DRS wide open. Let's follow this lap here closely for Fernando Alonso.
Just a good comment here from Joshua Taylor, just saying Norris has honestly done such a good job with the car package that he has. He has been doing very well this race weekend. He's been doing well the past few races, to be honest. Really, really outperforming that car. You can see where Piastri is. I think that's the true pace of the car. Of course, Norris does have some new upgrades on his car for this race weekend. Piastri does not have those upgrades because they are splitting that upgrade package between now and Silverstone to allow them to have some extra spare parts for Norris's car. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Piastri can do next weekend or the weekend after, whenever Silverstone is, whether he'll be able to get some good performance. As we do see now, Norris crossing the line. Does he improve on his time?
No, very slow lap, unfortunately. But he's still currently in second. Alonso, let's see how it fares. Just 0.48 seconds behind Verstappen's time. Now, where does that put him? Puts him currently into fourth position. If you can keep it up, if you can speed up in this final sector, maybe he can move himself a little bit ahead. Fernando Alonso now coming around the final two bends here. He's going to really take it very wide here. You can just see very close there. He goes over in a 105. So he moves into fifth position. That's the two Ferraris. So unfortunately, not a brilliant lap there for him. Ocon moves himself into seventh. We've got 6 seconds left. Stroll crosses the line, and he moves into seventh position ahead of Ocon. Charles Leclerc still ahead in sixth. So it looks like that's more or less going to be our final grid order.
But Verstappen, once again, on another hot lap, going very, very fast in sector 1 and 2. Will he be able to stay within track limits? Yes, he does. So aggressive into turn 10 there. And he goes even faster with a 104.4, half a second ahead of his closest rival.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant race there, drive from Verstappen. Sainz does not go quicker, so he'll remain in fifth position. Sergio Perez, though, goes ahead of Lando Norris. So a great recovery from Perez after yesterday's disaster class. So he will start right at the front of the grid alongside his teammate. Charles Leclerc also moves ahead of Fernando Alonso back into sixth position. Not a great qualifying session at all for Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Hulkenberg, yet again, doing unbelievable work in the shootout. And he finishes in fifth position behind Lando Norris. Unbelievable. He is unbelievable, Hulkenberg. He really is. So fantastic job also from Lando Norris, who stays in third position. So we're going to have both Red Bulls on the front of the grid for the sprint later. Lando Norris and Hulkenberg in the second row, and the two Ferraris behind that, followed by the two Aston Martins.
I mean, I'm very, very impressed by Lando Norris and Nico Hulkenberg to qualify so high up. We saw how competitive those Ferraris were yesterday, and I mean, they were qualified by a McLaren and a Haas. That was not on for this weekend.
No, not at all. I mean, unbelievable work there from Lando Norris and Nico Hulkenberg. Max Verstappen set very, very quick times there. He's certainly looking like the favorite for the weekend yet again.
Max Verstappen on yet another Grand Slam weekend. So far, he has led every single session.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable work from Max Verstappen right now. I mean, I'm still a little bit concerned about the two Aston Martins. They seem to be quite slow compared to everybody else right now. It's a bit of a problem for me. Ocon finishes in 9th, Magnussen in 10th, of course. So that brings us to the end of the sprint shootout. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us on this session. Well, in the session, rather. But yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments what surprised you about this. I mean, both Mercedes very, very low down.
That's also a massive shocker to have seen both Mercedes eliminated. Someone was asking where was Hamilton before his lap time was deleted. He was actually in P1 at the time, and his lap time was deleted for track limits in turn 9. And he was just relegated all the way down to P18 and not able to put in a faster lap. Very disappointing. I'm sure Lewis Hamilton will be in himself, as well as just frustrated, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, great drive there for Lando Norris. And hopefully he can actually get some decent points here because, of course, in the sprint race, you just need to try and make sure you keep the cars behind you. I don't think he has any chance of trying to take those Red Bulls. So I'm sure his his objective is to make sure he stays ahead of Hulkenberg into that first turn and hope that Hulkenberg holds everybody up enough so that Lando Norris can finish on the sprint podium.
I mean, that would be great to see, having Lando on the podium for the first time this year. It would be just nice to have a different podium here. Will Perez though be able to hold on to P2 here?
I'm sure if Perez just drives relatively okay, unless there's a big mistake from Sergio Perez, he's got a car that's quick enough that'll certainly keep him ahead of at least the McLaren and the Haas, and that should be enough in the sprint to stay ahead of those Ferraris if they're trying to chase them down. I doubt very much that Sergio Perez will drop down, unless, of course, something else happens. Maybe rain plays a part and there's a lot of slipping and sliding, but great day for Lando Norris so far.
We could get some rain later this afternoon, so do stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. We will move you across to the next stream when that happens, but that sprint shootout, or the sprint later this afternoon, should be extremely exciting. I mean, just ramping up for such a great afternoon and a great looking race for Sunday as well. It looks like those Ferraris are quite fast in their race pace. The McLarens also outperforming what we thought they would be doing. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that brings us to the end of the sprint shootout, and we're going to switch across straight to the next session, which of course is going to be building up to the actual sprint race later today, and we're going to do a review of the sprint shootout right now and all the positions and everything that happened there as we start that stream, and then we're going to head on into F3 and F2, and then of course culminating in the F1 sprint race. So thank you so much for watching Forever Motorsports, and thanks once again to our partner Bitdefender for sponsoring this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix watch-along on the channel. So join me and Reese in the next session. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Cheerio.